Once again, good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to have you here for Southside Pitch 2022. I'm Beth Krieger. I'm the director of the IJ Clinic on Entrepreneurship. We're your hosts for tonight. And I have a few questions for you. Who here is nurturing a business dream? Yeah. Who here is a tried and true Southsider? Yeah, some more hands, more hands. Who here is part of the community that will support and uplift entrepreneurs on the South Side? That's everybody. All right, that's why we're here. So welcome, welcome one and all. Dreams come in all sorts of sizes. Some entrepreneurs might have a dream to set up a push cart selling collectibles on the weekends. Others may have a vision to fill an entire vacant block with community-owned offices and shops. We suspect that there are dreams of all sorts of sizes percolating in the room right now. Indeed, we've heard from some of our past Southside Pitch winners that they were sitting in the audience here with just a little spark of an idea, and that it was this moment that they attended Southside Pitch that they decided they really had to give it a shot. Southside Pitch is inspiring. Just wait and see. Our finalists tonight, and many other entrepreneurs on the South Side, have dreams and the courage to pursue them in spite of the challenges. Southside Pitch is a little different than a lot of other pitch competitions. A lot of pitch competitions are presenting people with an idea, people who are starting to put together the concept for a startup, and the judges or the investors are testing to see whether it's a good idea. Well, here at Southside Pitch tonight, you're going to hear from established businesses, people who not only had the idea, but they're making it work here on the South Side. And that takes courage. Entrepreneurs like this see underserved neighborhoods and they jump in. They see an industry where none of the power players look like them, and they fill that gap. They see vacant land and they imagine new buildings and new days. Where others see problems, they see potential. Their dreams come in different shapes. Some take the shape of a shop that is a haven in the neighborhood. Some take the shape of handmade, sustainable fashion. Some take the shape of a satisfied client who's been able to build a business successfully. Some take the shape of an impact on the supply chain and the environment. Some take the shape of a can of beer and a feeling of representation. That vision of a shop or a customer list or an invention is really just the beginning. My printer printed the wrong way. All right. To grow these ideas into these established businesses you're going to be hearing about tonight, these entrepreneurs need to learn their customers. They need to learn how to hire. They need to learn how to make the finances work. They need to learn how to repair the building, sometimes the plumbing, and the website. Who knows how much more they need to learn. They even have to learn how to do a pitch in front of a big audience. There are plenty of challenges in running a business on the South Side, challenges to spare. At the IJ Clinic on Entrepreneurship at the University of Chicago Law School, we are the lawyers and advocates for entrepreneurs and small business owners like the finalists you'll hear from tonight. So every day we see the courage and creativity it takes to be an entrepreneur, and we see the challenges. Going forward from this special night, the IJ Clinic will continue every day to help our clients work through these kinds of challenges in a sustainable, legal way. But that's not all. You see, we hear all too often about challenges that these entrepreneurs should not have to face. They are encountering obstacles that should not be there. We see our clients get rejected for business licenses because of goofy zoning rules or a 30-year-old parking ticket. We talk with entrepreneurs who are fined so much that they just can't afford to stay open. They might be fined because they have a mural on the outside of the building, or fined for a problem with a property they don't even own. We hear about businesses that are shut down when they're the victims of local crime, instead of being honored and protected because they're instrumental in building safe communities. We know that the procedures, the bureaucracy, to stake out new territory and vacant land, to hang up a sign telling customers that a vacant shop is now open for business, the procedure to hire qualified employees, they're just too slow, they're too expensive, they're too confusing, and they require too much kind of courtship of government officials. So our dream that we're working toward is that the South Side of Chicago would be a welcoming place for dreams of all shapes and sizes. We want to knock down the barriers that are erected by unnecessary legal requirements, and we will work with you to tackle the challenges that come. We applaud the dreamers, and we will do our best to guard them. But tonight's about the applause and the community, and it's a fun thing to celebrate. So we've got our finalists who have built extraordinary, inspiring businesses out of that initial spark of an idea. Now, we're not going to make it easy on them. We're putting up some challenges of our own. We've got an amazing panel of judges here tonight who will ask the tough questions that business owners need to face from potential investors, community organizations, customers, and gatekeepers of all kinds. So let me introduce our judges to you now. First, on the left, we have LaForce Baker. I've known LaForce for a long time. He has had the entrepreneurial spirit since he was a schoolboy, and he built an amazing company called Moon Meals, which made plant-based foods, and we were lucky enough to be the attorneys for Moon Meals in the IJ Clinic. Now he is also, in addition to being the founder of Moon Meals, the Vice President of Community Impact at World Business Chicago. Justin Douglas comes to us from the Booth School of Business at the University of Chicago, just down the street. His work is focused on building up social enterprises here on campus. As the Assistant Director of the Edwardson Social Entrepreneurship Program in Booth's Rustandi Center. So our colleagues at Rustandi have been stalwart advisors and supporters as we've put together this year's Southside Pitch, and we're so appreciative to have Justin with us. Now, Brooke Fallon, our next judge, might be a familiar face to people in the room. She's a very special addition to our judges panel. Brooke was working in the IJ Clinic the year the Southside Pitch was just the spark of an idea. And she's the one who made it a reality that very first time. A lot of what you're seeing here tonight was first envisioned by Brooke. Now, Southside Pitch is in its 9th year, and Brooke works for a venture capital firm that she's representing tonight, a firm that makes it possible for exciting, world-changing startups to build their businesses and conquer the kinds of regulatory challenges that make it so difficult. And that the firm is called Trust Ventures, where Brooke is a vice president. And last but not least, we are thrilled to have Richard Jones, our newest friend of the IJ Clinic, on the judges panel. As Supplier Diversity Business Manager with United Airlines, Richard has a great deal of experience hearing businesses pitch to him. He adds the perspective of the buyer, the customer, to our panel, and we really appreciate the depth of his experience and wisdom in how small businesses become the suppliers that make a huge business like United Airlines work. We know these finalists are ready to face this insightful judges panel. They have practiced a lot and worked tirelessly with generous volunteer coaches, and they're ready. I'd love to acknowledge, I know some of our coaches are in the room, they're listed in your program. If our coaches could wave a hand and we could applaud for them, they deserve it. Thank you. So I'm not going to hold this competition up any longer. But before we begin with our finalists, we're lucky to have a special guest kick us off. Dominique Jones started D. Jones Construction because she had a vision for what could be different and better in the construction industry in her community. So she competed successfully in Southside Pitch just last year, and she's had lots of accomplishments, and she has new stories to share with us now. So please welcome Dominique Jones to give our keynote.
I'm good? Okay. Wow. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Beth, for that introduction. As you can see, I'm a little reserved because last year there was no audience. So now I'm looking at all these faces looking at me, and to be honest, it's very, very intimidating a little bit, but it is also very welcoming. Last year was just a bunch of cameras, it was very dark, and we just had the judges staring at us. So thank you all for being here today. I want to thank the Institute for Justice for asking me to speak today. But first and foremost, how's everybody doing this evening? Y'all doing good? Okay, yeah. You guys made it out here in spite of your busy days, so thank you for being here. And secondly, let's give a round of applause to the contestants for tonight. Yes, let's clap it up for them. So I know that they have been prepping for this day, but on top of that, they're still entrepreneurs. So they still had to keep their businesses running, and they still made it here today, and I can't wait to see the different pitches. So a little bit about myself. I am Dominique Jones, as Beth said, and I am the founder and CEO of D. Jones Construction. We're a general construction company, and I also founded a nonprofit organization, Tools Up Foundation, which is my heart, like seriously. It is a construction training organization, nonprofit for minorities, specifically for minorities and people who look like me. I started that organization because when I started in the industry, straight out of college, I walked around on site, hard hat boots, and I didn't see anyone who looked like me. So I immediately noticed that it was an issue for me, but I also knew that since this door was open for me, I need to figure out how do I keep this door open. So I started my company, D. Jones Construction, out of necessity, right? Some people have inspiration, they have an innovation. Mine was, I was overworked, right? Undervalued and underpaid. I knew I had so much more to offer, so that's why I started D. Jones Construction. So, where I am today, right? Last year, when I was doing this pitch, I was trying to raise money to build out my headquarters here on the south side of Chicago. It's so surreal because just last week, we moved into our headquarters. It was a long journey, but Southside Pitch helped to initiate that process of permitting for the project. We renovated a historic older building that was actually in demo court. They were going to demolish it. And with my skill set, my expertise, and my background, and the team that I developed, we were able to restore it. So that building is still standing strong, where we hosted our first classes just last week with the students. So about the students, right? I didn't even tell you about that good news. I started the nonprofit organization a couple of years ago, and last year we were awarded a grant from the state of Illinois through DCEO, Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. This was our first year running a program in general, and they trusted us because they knew that the plan that we had in place was impactful and it would truly make a difference. So with our nonprofit Tools Up, we developed the Pave the Way Up program, which is a pre-apprenticeship program. And it's specifically for historically underrepresented minorities to get into the trades of construction. I'm happy to say that as of today, we have trained 32 students successfully. And thank you. And not only that, we are getting them jobs, right? We are getting them paid. We are creating equity right here in our community on the south side of Chicago. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you guys are excited to see these finalists and everything that they have brought today and prepared to pitch today. But I wanted to talk about just a few tips for those finalists. Can you raise your hand, the finalists? I haven't even... Where are you all? There you are. Hi. So this last piece of my message is directly for you, right? I'm an entrepreneur, so I know exactly what you're going through. So I just want to give you guys a couple of tips that's going to help you to continue to grow your business. I don't know all of the answers, but you have a network here of people who might know those answers, which brings me to my number one tip. If you don't know, ask for help, right? If you need help, ask for help. That's the number one tip. Ask for help. When I say it's literally so many resources around you besides just Google University, you have physical people and organizations that have already done the work for you. All you have to do is ask for help and just reach out for resources. Even here at the Polsky Center, I reached out to Isra, for instance. Right, snap, snap, snap. But Isra has helped me so much. She was a coach in the previous Southside pitch last year. So use your coaches also for that help. Reach out to them and ask them for different advice. The next tip that I want to give is treat yourself, right? You got to have some self-care in there. You're pouring so much into your business and you're pouring so much into your clients and into your services that sometimes you feel empty, right? You feel empty and it's like you have nothing else left to give. So you have to put yourself as priority number one. When you do that, you have so much more. It's overflowing. You have so much more to give to other people. And this one is for future entrepreneurs. I know you're out there, right? Who has an idea that they haven't really even put it out there yet, but it's been in your mind, on your brain as you're sleeping at night? Yeah, I see a couple hands, I want to say for you, and I wish someone had given me this advice myself. Do it in spite of your fear. In spite of the fear. Fear to me is an indication of I'm on the right track. Fear to me is passion, right? So, in spite of your fear, go out there and just do it anyways. What's the worst that can happen? You end up here. At Southside Pitch, right? So that's all that I have for you for tonight. Thank you again, Institute for Justice. Thank you, Arian. I see you back there. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Beth. Like I said, do it in spite of fear. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dominique. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 9th annual Southside Pitch. Woo! I will be the host that you will be stuck with for this evening. My name is Noah Bezos. I am the policy fellow here at the IJ Clinic on Entrepreneurship. That just means that I read the boring stuff so that you don't have to. Is that a good joke? No, but that's never stopped me before. So, we have some fantastic pitches, some unbelievable businesses. I said it a million times, this is gonna be a tough one for our judges, because these are some phenomenal entrepreneurs and businesses. So I wanted to tell you before I introduce our first business, I want to tell you how all of these things are going to work. So here's the format for our evening. So all of our finalists, they've been working very diligently, putting a ton of effort into working on these 3-minute pitches with our fantastic coaches. So they're going to come up and do that 3-minute pitch. During those 3 minutes, we just ask that you kindly stay seated, and listen so that everybody in the room can clearly hear all the phenomenal work that our finalists have done. Once the pitch is over, our judges will then ask a series of questions, all to get to the bottom of who tonight is going to walk away with the grand prize of $10,000. Woo! There are 5 criteria on which our finalists are going to be judged: business impact, long-term business vision, creativity, especially in sales and marketing, business roots on the South Side, and finally, my personal favorite, showmanship. Now keep in mind, as you listen to these pitches, listen very closely, because it's not just our judges that will have a say this evening. All of you, as our community judges, will be able to vote for these businesses, and one of them will be walking away with our community favorites prize, an additional $1,000 in their back pocket. Phenomenal. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce our very first finalists, Clifton Muhammad and Connie Anderson, with the record track.
I'm Cliff.
And I'm Connie.
This is the record track. When I first got my MBA from the University of Chicago, I had no idea that I would end up owning a small record shop right here on the South Side. My career had been mostly about making money for multinationals. Then my Uncle Wister died. He left me with a treasure trove: vinyl, music, CDs. I was gonna sell it all. Put up a big liquidation sign on the front of the shop. Funny thing happened on the way to liquidation. My uncle's customers walked through the front door, and they would tell me about his 30 years in the community. They would say, "We're glad you're still here." Local business owners would walk in, and they would offer to help me with anything I needed to keep this thing going. So the next thing I did was I found a partner who loved nothing more than buying out inventory from old record shops. Then I started the hard work of convincing my wife, Connie, to move to the South Side and make this community our home.
He is right about that. But after visiting local businesses and attending community meetings, I've learned that the people in my neighborhood are resilient. So Cliff and I started our research in the hopes to understand the needs for our community. In doing so, we learned of a UIC study stating that $46 million leave our community annually for music, books, hobbies. We want a bit of that money back.
Yep.
We also learned that lack of investments within a community diminishes community members' optimism for their community. And we want to bring a bit of that back.
So this investment will buy guitars, amplifiers, drum kits, everything you need to put a band together. So a customer will be able to walk through our front door, hit a touch screen, pick a favorite song, then walk out knowing how to play a few chords to that song.
Absolutely.
Then maybe come back later to get to the next level. So Connie and I actually tried a prototype of this. We crammed all the music instruments we could into a truck, threw them out on the sidewalk during the Sweet Home Chicago Fest. We were amazed by the response from our community. We surveyed residents. 100% of them told us that we want a place for performing arts right in South Chicago.
Yep.
Essentially, they said, you got to do this.
Absolutely. With a 6-figure revenue, we know that the record track is stable. And knowing that, the record track will provide a space for musicians and artists to just come to the store and just collaborate.
So let's come together.
Where the music meets the minds.
Let's hear from our judges. LaForce, let's start with you.
Yeah, sure. First off, thank you so much for that pitch. I could really feel the enthusiasm. One question that I have is, I think it's great that you shared that people were asking you all for this business. Beyond that initial kind of push from the community, how will you invest in marketing to really grow the reach and grow your revenues from where you are today?
Well, our marketing actually breaks down 2 ways. We've got an ongoing business that's global, we sell online on, the popular sites, Amazon, eBay, et cetera. And we have a local plan, which is about outreach to our particular community. A couple of things they have in common is that we work really hard on developing relationships with those customers. So for 20,000 online customers, we've done data downloads to figure out how to connect with them. We write handwritten notes to them. We now have customers that include places like the Harvard University's Hutchinson School of African American History. We have public libraries. We have original artists that actually contact us for our music globally. Locally, Connie and I go to every single community meeting we can. We go to police meetings. We go to political organizations meetings. We go to health fairs. And we talk to our communities about what our vision is. And we actually have them participate in developing our plans. So our mission, for example, was actually written with the help of our local USPS carrier.
Robin.
Who was so amazing, we hired her to work for us part-time.
Yeah.
So literally, what these people are doing is they're talking to their families and friends about the record track when they're at home, and we know this because they're bringing their families and friends to come meet us. Our community is waiting for this to get started.
Awesome, thank you.
I guess my question is sort of in line with that. First of all, a wonderful pitch, and I really like the idea of you guys being rooted in the community and rooted in sort of this musical history and this musical tradition. As you grow and expand, how are you going to ensure that the revenue and the success stays with the community?
So the growth for us is pretty simple. We're starting with one record shop on the south side of Chicago. We're going to tweak it, we're going to experiment it, we're going to make it work, and when it works, we're going to go to another community, and we're going to make it fit for that community. And we're going to start bringing in foot traffic for the other businesses in that new community. And when we're bringing in foot traffic for other businesses in that community, one of the people that walked through my front door was owner of a regional malls all around the Chicago area.
The Gindells.
Yeah. And he said, you know what, Cliff, I'd love to have a black record shop in my mall. I think if I can bring foot traffic to malls, we will have no problem finding places to go.
Thank you.
Thank you guys, this has been awesome, and I love that you started with the music just to really put us in the right vibe, so shout out to the guitarist over there.
Sean Black.
Thanks for coming. So, you've laid out already, some ideas toward what your beautiful vision for the company would look like, and I'm just curious, in 5 years, 10 years, what will the record track look like in your kind of dream scenario? How will your customers know it? How will the Chicago area know it? What's the vision for that?
So right now, our local community know record track. Remember, it's been a base of the community for 30 years before we even got there, 25 years before we even got there, so it's well known. We've already, like Clifton said, we've already started that putting the record track out there, writing those handwritten letters, going to community meetings or gatherings like the Southside Sweet Home Chicago on the South Side, and just kind of throwing ourselves out there, letting people know that we're there. So we've already started that, again, 30 years ago. In 5 or 10 years, we're thinking of having definitely some franchises around the South Side. So that Staples store that we currently have is well known, and when someone sees that very same name downtown or even on the Southwest side, it was like, oh yeah, I walked into their first store over there on the Southeast side.
Right. I mentioned. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go
I mentioned. Globally, we actually have more customers outside the United States than we do inside the city of Chicago. We're expecting when some of those customers come to Chicago for a festival to see Silver Room Block Party, Lollapalooza. They'd like to stop by and visit the place where they already have that relationship with. So we expect to extend that. And our local footprint, as I mentioned earlier, we expect to multiply throughout multiple communities, multiple locations. Any place where there might be somebody that loves music, and there might be a benefit to bringing foot traffic past your neighbor's front doors. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to echo the same sentiments as the other judges. The guitarist is phenomenal. I'm just going to have to take him home with me and just play all night long.
One more time, Sean.
So I know you mentioned you got your MBA. So I know you conducted a SWOT analysis whenever you was developing your business.
Okay.
So do you have any competition currently within the marketplace that pose a risk to you?
Yeah. We have competition on a few different dimensions. Quite honestly, we compete with, when you look at our target, young adults, anybody that's of dating age, we compete with whatever that young adult might be able to do, how they might be able to spend their time. Connie and I grew up on the South Side. And as we mentioned in our pitch, we moved back recently. And we were surprised to find how hard it was just to find a place to go indoors. We had taken for granted the number of coffee shops, the sit-down restaurants. We got great takeout on the South Side, but if I'm a teenager, where can I go indoors and sit and bump into another person and have conversations which may lead to opportunities, where I may find mentors? So really, I see myself as competing with all of the other options that teenager has. If you're asking, is there something like what we're doing within, our footprint? The problem is there isn't. I'd actually love to see it.
Yeah, that's why I was like, competition in that facet, no, there's hardly anything. And when we did the survey, half of the people that did that survey were young people. So they are asking for spaces where they can just go and chill, just go and collaborate. And in addition to the record track, we know that we need additional available space. So right now, we have a pending contract for the 7 lots next to the record track to assure that we are able to provide whatever is asked for in the terms of community gathering space, that we are able to provide that for our community.
In that same survey, by the way, Connie mentioned the $46 million that leaves our neighborhood every year for the kinds of things we're providing. Same document, USC study. Over 100 million leaves for retail, for restaurants, for sit down. UIC asked people in our community what they wanted. They said, you know what, we would shop here if we had more options.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Can we have it one more time for Clifton and Connie? Thank you. And next up, I am very excited to announce our second finalist. Please help me welcome Damon Patton with Moore's Brewing Company.
Good evening. My name is Damon Patton. I'm co-founder and CEO at Moore's Brewing Company, LLC, and we are Chicago's Black-owned beer. We're headquartered in Bronzeville, here on the South Side. We're founded on June 19th, 2021, Juneteenth. Now, we had no clue when we were thinking about starting a beer company that our birthday was going to end up being a national holiday and the first in the history of this country. But when that happened, we knew we was on to something, And it was almost as if the universe was validating our decision to start a little beer company and basically telling us that what we were doing had merit. We knew it was destined for more. Now, this isn't just about selling beer for us, you know. It's about representation. It's about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it is rooted in independence, financial independence especially, from the very foundation of our birthday. Our mission is to become the premier African-American-owned brewery to distribute nationally to the top 10 cities by African-American population. That will be our Jackie Robinson moment. Never been done before. 2022. The vision is to then erect a state-of-the-art facility, production facility here on the south side of Chicago, which will create a bunch of jobs, bring a specialized education to this underserved community that's never been here before, and it'll also give us the chance to be the change that we want to see. It'll give us a chance to lead from the front by example, create our own lane, do for ourselves, and cement our legacy. The current market in craft beer is super strong. It's a $26 billion a year industry. It's also monolithic as all get out. Only about 1% of the 11,000 breweries in the country are African American owned. We are proud to be a part of that minority. Our product is well received all over the city of Chicago. We are in about 350 retail locations around the city. And we just celebrated our 16th month of operation on the 19th. And, you know, people proudly serve our beer around town. The future of this market is super strong as well. I mean, we just went through a pandemic. We founded ourselves. People didn't stop drinking beer. You know, we just got back from Atlanta, and they're going crazy over it there too. So we think the outlook is positive for us going forward. And our products are definitely looking like they're going to be consumed by a lot of people in a lot of different places. If we were to win today, the use of funds would be to buy more merchandise, which we sell to fund our beer buying operation. And it'll also go towards buying desperately needed point of sale items to deal with like shelf talkers and the like on commercial shelves. I invite you all to try and drink Moore's beer. Ask for it by name. In doing so, if the iconography leads you to have a little bit of an icebreaker where you can have a conversation about diversity, equity, inclusion, race, anything that typically is a tough conversation, believe you me, it's better had over a beer.
Thank you so much, Damon. Justin, let's start with you this time.
Sure. Well, again, amazing pitch, and I really like the idea. Brewing companies are so, like, there's so much culture and tradition in that, and I really like that you're bringing that to the forefront. Love that you started on Juneteenth. Love that it's Black-owned. You talked about this goal of wanting to go national. Can you kind of go into more detail about what your plan is from sort of this point A to sort of scaling nationally?
Sure.
What steps are you going to take to
Absolutely. Initially, we were going to just kind of take the spokes on the wheel concept out of Chicago, hit Indianapolis, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Minneapolis, the Quad Cities in Iowa, everything that we can kind of drive 8 hours from here. That was the initial thought, and then we went to Atlanta and sold a bunch of beer. And so now it's definitely going to be a Chicago to Atlanta move, and then from there we're going to circle back and get all of the spokes on the wheel here in the Midwest. And then we'll start taking down, again, the top 10 cities by African American population one by one.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. I love you guys' merchandise, by the way.
Oh,
so I
thank you
can
very
see how
much.
that's a moneymaker for you.
Available on mooresbeer.com right now.
One thing I was curious about, since you guys are operating in the alcohol industry, how has the regulatory environment been challenging for you guys of dealing with everything from the 3-tier system to figuring out if you guys eventually want to open a tap room and all the kind of rules attached to that? How are you thinking that through?
Our attorney is very expensive, $700 an hour or something like that. So we've gotten some good advice going forward here, but we've been working our way through it. You don't know what you don't know. So we go and pay for that education. Sometimes it's offered for free, and we love that. But we are networked in the correct way to get the advice that we need to push this company forward.
So first off, again, amazing pitch.
Thank you.
And, for me, as I think person on this panel probably has the most retail experience because I grew and scaled a business in retail.
Right.
I have a question particularly about retail. So, in your marketing strategy. So I know you said you're at 350 doors now.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats on that.
Appreciate
I
it.
know that there's a cost to being on the shelf, right? And
it costs a lot of money.
yeah. And so one question I have is, can you talk about, have you overcome any challenges? Because I know that to front that cost, you have to have enough margin built into this product. So have you already kind of built this product so that you have enough margin to continue to scale as you're scaling, or do you?
Those 350 doors came with about $300,000 in revenue. And so we've built into the model, obviously, profitability, but the ability to kind of turn the money back over. We're shortening the cycle from money out to money in.
Okay.
But it's definitely been at the forefront of our operation and thoughts from the onset. I mean, my partner, one of them is a CFO, Jamal Johnson. He's worked with several, high-profile accounting firms here in the city for the last 15, 20 years. Yeah, exactly. Financial freedom, guys, I'm telling you. But yeah, so we've already been looking at profitability from day one. We couldn't sustain what we got going on if we weren't making money.
If I may add really quickly, to your point, what I think you're referring to is the cost to be on the shelves. Mm-hmm. So we don't really experience that in the alcohol business that much. It's more so for like other products where you have to buy shelf space and things like that. We luckily haven't experienced that so far in our journey.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm gonna switch and put my day job hat on. So when I'm thinking about on-board provisionings and club provisionings, what is your current packaging model as far as bottles and cans?
So we're currently in 16-ounce cans, sold in 4-packs. We're looking to do 19.2s to get an individual C-store kind of SKU going. We've also discussed variety packs for the upcoming holiday season. So we've got a couple of different packaging things to kind of consider, but all of which cost money at the end of the day. So those are things that have been on the table for us and things we're considering now.
So I had a follow-up question, and
Sure.
I guess it's kind of two questions, so I might just lump them together. But one, like you talked about diversity, equity, and inclusion being sort of core to your business. You go into more detail about what that looks like day to day. And I guess the follow-up question is, like, say your dreams come true, you're a national chain, national franchise. How do you ensure that, again, it's still community focused? How do you still ensure that the community is still benefiting?
So the partners that I'm working with now, I've known since childhood. I've known Sherrod since Beasley Academic Center. Jamal and I, we all went to the University of Illinois together. The individuals that work with us either come from Hyde Park, where I grew up, my grammar school, one of their high schools, or our college. We keep it community. Our manufacturer happens to be African American. Our distributor happens to be African American. That is done by design. And when we get a chance to build a production facility, I'm hiring everybody in this community.
Awesome. Folks, give it up for Moore's Brewing. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, on to our third finalist. Please help me in welcoming Dinah Claudy with Tecour Couture.
Summer of 2020, I was sitting in my room, my eyes glued to the screen in my hand. I kept seeing images of people being executed because of the color of their skin, because of what they looked like. That summer, I picked up my crochet hook. Making clothing allowed me to reclaim my identity and self-expression as a Black woman, a message that resonated deeply with the people that discovered my page. That summer, I learned about the power of adornment. Hi, I'm Dinah, the founder and designer of Tecour Couture, a Black-owned luxury fashion brand that specializes in handmade crochet clothing and accessories. But this is not just a fashion brand. This is a place that builds community and spreads one very important message, that people matter. The fashion industry is one of the highest contributors to our climate crisis and modern day slavery. Tico Couture will not take part in this. We utilize sustainable fibers and pride ourselves on being a slow fashion brand. We offer a high-value product where each item is carefully curated so that consumers are crafting a relationship with the clothes they buy. Our collections are inspired by the history and stories of underrepresented communities. From For Colored Girls by Natazaki Shanghai to the works of Jean Basquiat, we develop designs that put Black and Indigenous people of color first. Since our brand's inception, we've built an online community of over 15,000 people and have garnered the attention of pioneers and activists like Yara Shahidi, Jamila Woods, and Ziwe Fumodo. In a year, we've made over 100 sales that have shipped worldwide and have brought in a revenue of $12,000 in the small windows we opened up for business. Winning the Southside pitch will allow us to support our advertising needs, invest in raw materials for garment making, and support the technological development necessary to build out our website and grow our brand community. Sequoia, a member of our brand community, shared with me that who she is as a consumer and as a Black woman are oftentimes in conflict. But for the first time, she felt really good to be wearing something that made her feel beautiful and supported as a Black woman. At Tico Couture, the mission is to build a brand experience that consumers can be both excited and proud to be part of. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to start with Brooke and end with Justin.
Thank you so much. That was great. So my question is just, that such a obviously beautiful part of what you guys do is that it's handmade and specially made. So how are you thinking about scaling this business as you guys are growing and reaching more customers? And what does that look like? How do you kind of source the designers that are part of the process? I'm just kind of curious to hear more about that.
Yes, so I love this question. And part of our brand values is really about being sustainable in how we're building making our clothing. And so we are a made-to-order brand that sells directly to consumers. And we have our artisans craft these clothings. And the whole point is to build back that relationship with our clothing, to change the mindset that is geared towards what we wear. And so as we grow and as we build, staying as a slow fashion brand is going to be essential to igniting those values.
Thank you.
All right, so my question is as far as lead times. What's your typical turnaround time from order placement to order fulfillment?
Yes, so as the sole manufacturer currently of Tico Couture, our lead times are 2 to 4 weeks on average.
So, one question I have, if that's the lead time, that can work. One question I have, who is going to be your initial customer to kind of give you the critical mass so that you can, sustain your business, be able to grow beyond a factory of one?
Mm-hmm. Yes, so our ideal customer cares about our brand values of sustainability and representation. And so these are people who utilize fashion as a big form of their identity formation. They have higher levels of disposable income that they can spend on clothing and want to stand with a brand that has values that they can really stick with and be proud of.
Okay.
Did that answer your full question? I just want to make sure.
No, that answered it. I mean, I think that, that could be a broad base, but, I think when we think about, I guess a follow-up question then is, obviously we're here at the South Side pitch. So on the South Side, where do you think, you would capture that customer base?
Yes, so when it comes to the sustainable and also luxury fashion industry. There is this trend of catering to white audiences, of being in that power. And so for me, there are three major lenses in which I want to continue to cater to the South Side. So the first is truth, being transparent about how our clothes are made, who's making them. The second is our story. T-Core is my middle name. It's a mix of both my Ghanaian and African-American heritage. And I think it's very important that in an industry that is very white dominant, that we're putting our name to things. And representation matters, but that's not everything. And so the third is action. And so that's utilizing our online community and also being physical in the community. And the ways in which we've done that in the past has been hosting giveaways where we have entrants pay to enter, and you send all of the 100% of the proceeds to organizations helping underrepresented communities. And the same is being involved in our physical communities. And so what that has looked like has been partnering with cultural institutions, one example being the Smart Museum, in which we continue to uplift these stories and where a lot of the designs are inspired from.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, I really love this idea, and I love this concept of slow fashion in a world of fast fashion and a lot of waste. I think it's a really innovative idea to kind of slow things down. My question kind of goes back to the earlier question about scaling. What do you see, if you were to win Southside Pitch, how would you use the funds to sort of next step scale up? What would be your initial steps there?
Yes, I love this question. And so for me, I would love to utilize the Southside Pitch to help me with the current challenges that I face, which is currently capacity as well as access to resources. And so the Southside Pitch money will allow me to invest in our digital marketing and our online marketing, as well as to continue to build out that website. With the investment in our marketing services, it will lead to more sales, which will lead to employees that I can hire that will help build out the brand and continue to propel our impact.
Wonderful. So what would be the ideal number of employees for sort of this next phase for you?
Yeah, so the ideal amount of employees would be, honestly, probably around 10 people. My dream for this brand is to have a place where artisans can come together that can showcase their artwork, this artisan profession. Fashion is slow. It's supposed to be slow. Even now, when we buy from fast fashion brands, these are real people that are making the clothing. And so to be able to have a business that is ethical, that is supporting and paying these artisans that have trained for years at their skill is definitely a dream of mine and definitely something I see Tico Couture doing.
Thank you.
Folks, let's give it up for Dinah one more time, please. Tico Couture. Thank you very much. For our next finalist, please help me in welcoming, very enthusiastically, CJ Harris with That's So Creative Media, LLC. Give it up.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hey. So, where are my Generation Xers in the building? Generation X? All right, so did you know that most small businesses are owned by Generation X at 46%? However, many of them are struggling with the demands of running and marketing their small business. The problem is they grew up with technology, but not as we know it today. So, where are my Generation Y or my millennials in the building? Woohoo! So Gen Y or millennials such as myself are a bridge between Gen X and Gen Z. Now, where are my Gen Z? All right, can't really do a Z. But Gen Z is unique in that they market and brand themselves all through social media. Hi, my name is CJ Harris, and I am the CEO and creative director of That's So Creative Media. And we have a solution that combines the strengths of Gen X, Y, and Z together in one easy-to-use marketing kit through a program we call Brand Igniter. We are a full-service creative agency focused on brand strategy, website development, and communications. We have worked with a number of large organizations such as UIC, the Art Institute of Chicago, and Cook County, to name a few. We want to bring these same premium services to our local community. I am a proud Southside resident, lifelong. My business is located on the South Side, and many Southside stories have a thread of hardship mixed with resilience. For many of us, entrepreneurship is the pathway out of poverty, and it's the catalyst for building generational wealth. And many Gen X, Y, and Z, they want to be part of the solution by starting their own businesses. That's So Creative's Brand Igniter program is unique and innovative in that it combines business strategy with design. We offer courses, coaching, and workshops, along with supplemented direct services like website design and digital marketing. We also partner with organizations who believe in small business, especially those owned by women and minorities. One success story that we have is a shea butter brand who was able to build her brand from scratch and launch an amazing website, and she just launched in her first brick and mortar store, and we're really proud of that. And the winnings of this Southside pitch will help us to create more stories like these. The winnings will also help us to hire new staff and leverage the technology needed to run this program effectively. So, partner with us as we partner with businesses in our local community to ignite their brands, to show up creatively, and do their best work.
Thank you kindly. All right, judges, we're going to start with Richard and end with Brooke this time.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So my main question is around your customers and who you're looking to target. I heard you mentioned about targeting small businesses, but are you also targeting Fortune 500, 100 companies? And if so, like, have you looked at your competition, such as like 72 and Sunny, and what is your service offerings different than theirs? So kind of a loaded question.
Yeah, so our business is twofold, right? So as I mentioned before, we've worked with a number of large agencies. I am WBE pending certified creative marketing agency. So with that, we do plan to continue on the track of working with a lot of, corporations, Fortune 500, 100. That is a track for us. But this Brand Igniter program is special to us, and it's our opportunity to really scale and do something and build in the community. So that's what we're building right now.
So the Brand Igniter program, can you just describe that a little bit more? Like what is that? Is that a course? Is that and then what's the economics on it? How much does it cost? How long does it take?
Okay, so the Brand Igniter program is 4 phases. We begin with brand strategy, then we go into visual branding, and then website development. The 4th phase is digital marketing, which is a recurring revenue model for us. The price point right now is ranging from around $2,000 to $7,000, but we're looking to bring those costs down. That's why we want to do these partnerships. Actually, that is industry standard, $2,000 to $7,000 for these services. But we want to bring those costs down because we realize that a number of local, small businesses, they can't really afford those prices. We do have 4 people already in the program. We've just launched it. And so we're looking at, again, recurring revenue. So anywhere from around $500 to $1,000 a month per business.
Got it. And do you think that you will have a niche with your marketing services? Like some marketing firms, they focus on beauty or they focus on food. Do you think you'll have a niche, or do you think you'll stay more general?
Right now we're general. Our primary audiences are Generation X. They primarily come from professional services, contracting, and product-based businesses. So we have found a sort of a niche in that arena. I am not a one-woman show, so we are looking to bring on, we have a full team, but we're looking to bring on additional support, right? Because we really want to scale this business. So we want to provide jobs for multiple creatives that have specialties in different areas.
That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, again, like wonderful pitch. I really like this idea of combining the strengths of generations X, Y, and Z in order to sort of create like a successful strategy. I was wondering if you could relay a success story, an example of how you utilized in a project those strengths from generations X, Y, and Z, and what was the result?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, most of our audience is from Gen X, right? And most of our team is Gen Y. And some Gen Z, we have internships. So it's kind of like an ecosystem, right? So we're all kind of working together to build these brands. And so that's how the Gen X, Y, and Z kind of comes together.
Right. Could you share an example of yeah.
Success story. So yeah, like I shared one success story, Keto Organics. She just launched her brand into a small store. We're really, proud of her. We worked with her from scratch. She didn't have a whole lot of, experience with the marketing side of things, and so we really were able to help her build out her brand strategy, build out her color palette, her messaging, and so now she's able to take that and launch out into bigger and better things.
Thank you.
So, So I work with startups on a daily basis, and one challenge is always a lot of them need help with marketing and branding and things like that, but it can be tough to convince founders that it's worth putting that, X thousand amount of dollars out of their limited budget toward something when there might be things in front of them that feel like more immediate fires. So how have you gone about bridging the gap, especially for these kind of small and local businesses that might be thinking, sure, I'd love to have branding services, but, $5,000, $7,000 feels like a lot to me. And how do you go about communicating the value of what that money is really investing and creating for their business?
Yeah. So one of the things that makes our program unique is that we combine business strategy and brand strategy with design. And so one of the things that I try to communicate to our clients is that we're not just making a logo for you, right? We're helping you build a brand. We're helping you build something that's going to live in the market and take you through longevity. So we try to help them to think long-term and futuristic. We also are very flexible, so we work with people. We put people on payment plans. Sometimes it may take them 6 months to pay, And so we're in the trenches with them to help them afford these services.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, CJ. Let's give it up one more time for That's So Creative Media. And now, for our final finalist. Please help me give a warm, plant-based welcome to Miguel Franco for Healthy Substance.
Hello, everyone. My name is Miguel Franco, co-owner of Healthy Substance, a vegan Mexican brand that replaces the need to have animals in Mexican cuisine. We do this because farm animals do not deserve what's happening to them. Every hour, tens of thousands of animals get placed into gas chambers, beaten by sledgehammers, artificially inseminated, or thrown into a blender alive. I wish I was joking or exaggerating, but it's the truth. Our story begins in 2012. My mom was devastated by the news of my stepdad's cancer diagnosis. She immediately began to do research and found that a vegan diet plus treatment can do miracles. Her challenge was to convince my stepdad, who owned and ate from traditional Mexican restaurants all his life, to suddenly switch to a vegan diet. So she got to work. She had recreated my stepdad's favorite food, al pastor tacos from pork to soy, and was ready to have the family try it out. She invited everyone over for taco night, and to avoid any preconceived notions, she didn't tell anyone that what she was serving was vegan. Everyone loved the food and didn't notice a thing, not even my restaurateur stepdad. From then on, the idea of Healthy Substance was born. 6 years later, we opened Healthy Substance, the vegan side of Mexico, offering popular traditional Mexican cuisine for those that want to enjoy a healthier version of their favorite meals. We started as a small 4-table restaurant, and 2 years later, we got recognized by Yelp as a top 100 place to eat in America. That's when we knew we had something really special. However, we can't complete our mission off of one restaurant alone. We're working hard to establish a mass production line that will put our plant-based proteins at the same cost, if not cheaper, than meat itself. Healthy Substance is set to stand up against the meat industry and help provide a more humane future, not just for ourselves, but for the environment and for the millions of animals that get slaughtered every day. We invite you to join us on the vegan side of Mexico, where that doesn't have to happen ever again. Help stop the meat industry and be a hero to those that need you the most. Thank you. Oh, there you guys go.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you. And coming full circle, let's start with LaForce.
All right. First off, thank you for that, and thank you for sharing, that very strong, just personal story about your family and your mom. It really hit me. I'm sure it hit a lot of people in the audience. Okay, you have this amazing vegan food, which I got to try it. So one question I have for you is, it's a twofold question. Number one, I know you said you had the restaurant, started with 4 tables and now it's grown. And then you talked about wanting to do like mass produce vegan food. Is the goal then that you would then wholesale that? Or is it so that you can build more, service more restaurants as you add more locations with the restaurants? I'll start there.
Yeah, so to answer that question, all of the above. We plan to create a mass production line because we produce our own plant-based proteins, mostly soy-based. When we are able to basically conduce or build a more vertical business model where we are producing our own products, it allows us to offer lower prices to our customer base, making plant-based proteins more accessible to the large majority of the population.
Got it, okay. And then my follow-up question is, when you think about the current customers that come into your restaurant, do you kind of do a survey on them to figure out, are they meat eaters and are they not? And the reason why I'm asking that is because I know for a fact that someone that started a vegan food company, the majority of the people that buy vegan products are not vegan. Right. So, it might, so I guess, my question is, do you plan on trying to broaden the appeal outside of vegan or plant-based eaters? Or do you plan on focus on the more strict kind of vegan or folks that don't want to eat meat?
We want to offer delicious Mexican food to the whole public. And we want to make sure that it's a plant-based, that way there's not another party that's being affected just because of our decisions. The way that we choose to market is by going to big major festivals, such as Lollapalooza, which is something that we did this summer, Sueños Festival, Taste of Chicago, all while offering the availability at our restaurant for customers that aren't ready to take a grocery product home and start cooking. They could come by the restaurant, have a taste, and if they like it, they can further explore their options.
Got it. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I really like this idea. I think animal cruelty and also sort of creating more options for plant-based customers is really important. I guess I liked how you talked about sort of how this was rooted in sort of your familial experiences. I guess with this goal of growing and wanting to sort of create this option for the whole public, how are you going to sort of stay rooted in sort of the South Side community and tradition?
Yeah. So the South Side has been my home ever since I moved from Guadalajara when I was 5 years old. My first job was working in Little Village at my stepdad's restaurant. as a waiter and as a busboy. I would have never been able to guess that from my years as a preteen, that 10 years later I'd be running another business, another restaurant in the South Side. So whether I want to or not, the South Side has more left its imprint on me than I could leave in the South Side.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely excited to try your product as a vegan myself and someone who loves Mexican food. So very happy to hear that you exist. But I had kind of a two-part question just related to thinking about your competition. So on the one side, you mentioned wanting to be able to provide a product that was like on par price-wise with meat or more affordable even. Yeah. So number one, how are you thinking about doing that? Because I know that's been a challenge for a lot of plant-based products. And number two, how are you looking at differentiating yourself from all the other, plant-based products that are currently out there?
Yeah. So the primary answer to that question is that we produced our proteins to be shelf-stable from the get-go, meaning we will avoid the cost of refrigerated transportation, and also we will avoid the competition of being in a refrigerated space in grocery stores. And that's a savings that will be passed on to the consumer. Correct. And to your other questions, what makes us different is that we have a facility where customers that aren't familiar with the plant-based world just yet can come and experiment. They could order a taco instead of buying a 1-pound pack of proteins. They could have a burrito and see for themselves if this type of diet switch is the right move.
All right, I know you mentioned about mass producing. So along those lines, can you tell me what steps you're doing to keep the integrity of the food so it doesn't lose its flavor? Because I know when you do mass production and you're trying to save on overhead, some of those qualities fall.
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. This whole entire business has been bootstrapped by me and my business partner, AKA my mom. Yeah. We've tried to figure out the best ways to make sure that we can do this without going out of business. One of the ways that we did it was by going to another country to have our first production run. We don't want to sacrifice quality because quality, it's a really big fish that's important, right? So in order for us to achieve the lower cost, we plan on moving production to a facility in Mexico where it's an ingredient source country, lower labor costs, all with the prime goal of making sure that plant-based foods are actually accessible to the large percentage of the population.
Fantastic. Let's hear it one more time for Miguel Franco and Healthy Substance. And in addition to thanking Miguel and all of our finalists, I would like to thank everybody here very much. Give yourselves a round of applause for showing up. Now is y'all's time to shine, because for the next 15 minutes, voting begins. It's not just our judges that'll be weighing in. It's all of you as well. So what I'd like for you to do is refer to your brochure. And if you don't have a brochure, there are some on the back table there. And of course, there's a stack at the bar as well. So pop open that brochure, get a look at that QR code, scan that, and that will bring you to our Google form. And that's what's going to allow you to score each of our finalists. You'll be able to score each finalist on that form, and your score will directly impact with not only who goes home with our placement prizes. Everybody's walking away with some cash tonight because phenomenal businesses through and through. But in addition to that, your weighing in and your voting will help us decide the community favorite, which will walk out of the door tonight with an extra $1,000 in their pocket. I will return when the voting is closed and the results are in. In the meantime, grab a brochure, grab a sandwich, have a beer. I would recommend the Session Ale from Moore's, personally. So get ready, take your time. You got 15 minutes, put those votes in, and we will see you back and get ready to congratulate the winners of our 9th annual Southside Pitch. The voting has concluded. We have our results. Your time with me is now finished. However, I have the distinct privilege of announcing our Assistant Director of the IJ Clinic, Kathy Gretchen, who will be making some remarks and also announcing our winners. Kathy, take it away.
All right, the votes are in. Are you all ready to know how the judges voted tonight? Yes! That includes you, our audience here at the Polsky Center, and those of you joining us online virtually. Tonight, all of our Southside Pitch finalists will go home winners, each receiving a cash prize. But before we reveal the winners, we have a few people to thank and recognize. We want to thank our sponsors, United Airlines, the Rostandi Center for Social Sector Innovation, the University of Chicago Office of Civic Engagement, and the Polsky Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, our physical hosts tonight. We also want to shout out to our caterers. We wanted to support some small businesses that have participated in the Southside Pitch. So those sandwiches were from Just Sandwiches of Karen Roberts. Then we had Garifuna Flava Caribbean from Rodel Castillo. And don't forget your bartender, Drinks on Me Chicago, Jay Harris. And of course, we couldn't have done it without our judges. We have LaForce Baker, our Vice President of Community Impact at World Business Chicago and founder of Moon Meals. Justin Douglas, our Assistant Director at the Edwardson Social Entrepreneurship Program at the University of Chicago Booth School of Business Rostandi Center. We have Brooke Fallon, our Vice President at Trust Ventures, and Richard Jones, our Supplier Diversity Business Manager with United Airlines. And to bring this whole event together, we have some IJ Clinic staff to thank. Noah Bezos, our Policy Fellow, an amazing MC. Ariane, where are you? Get over here. Get over here. Come on up. Ariane Malasi, I'm going to say it right. Ariane Malasi rhymes with policy.
There it is.
Our Operations and Community Relations Manager, and the extraordinary efforts that he has poured into Southside Pitch 2022, we could not have done it without you. Thank you. And we are very fortunate also to have some of our Institute for Justice staff from our HQ from the DC area, Andrew Weimer, Natalie Walker, Marianne March, and Andrew's trusty assistant, Elliot, and many others at IJ who offered talent and support to bring Southside Pitch to all of you. Wow, this has just been such an inspiring night, and we are very lucky to have an additional award to give out tonight. So, Justin, you want to come on up here? Oh, here you are. You snuck up on me. There you are. So Justin, again, is with the U Chicago Booth School of Business Rostandi Center, and I want to just tell you a little bit more, and then he's going to tell you more about the prize. So the Rostandi Center for Social Sector Innovation is the destination at the University of Chicago Booth School of Business for people committed to helping solve complex social and environmental problems. As Chicago Booth's social impact hub, the Rostandi Center aims to develop people and practices with the potential to solve the world's biggest challenges. The center's Edwardson Social Entrepreneurship Program helps build and launch game-changing social ventures and is part of a powerful innovation ecosystem at the University of Chicago. And we're very happy to have their partnership both in coaching and supporting this event. And they are having a special prize to award tonight. And I'll let Justin tell you more.
Sure. Yes, thank you so much. Like was mentioned, the Rostandi Center is the hub for social impact innovation. And the Social Entrepreneurship Program works with students from across campus who are interested in starting businesses that really have a social impact focus, so supporting communities, solving social problems. And so when we connected with Southside Pitch, one thing that we really wanted to do was emphasize that social impact piece. So as as we deliberated in the judges' room, we were really thinking about which ventures really were serving communities, which were rooted in community. That's probably why you heard all my questions about why, like, how are you rooted in community? How are you giving back to the community? And so we're happy today to also offer an award as part of this competition for $2,500 to a venture that has a social impact focus and that is really giving back to the community. So without further ado, I want to give the Rustandi Center Social Impact Award to the Record Track.
Congratulations to the Record Track on the Rustandi Award.
Thank you.
Next up is our Community Favorite Award, and this has to do with the vote by you, the audience. And tonight, you have voted for the Record Track. And our Community Favorite Award is a $1,000 award. Congratulations. So just to let you know what direction we're headed, we're going to go with our 5th place, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. So for the 5th place award, which is also $1,000, we have Decor Couture. Congrats, Dinah. Then for our 4th place award, which is worth $3,000, Healthy Substance. All right, then our 3rd place award for $5,000. That's So Creative. And then our 2nd place award, which is for $7,000, the Record Track. And then if you've been keeping track, that leaves one more finalist. So 1st place, $10,000, Moore's Brewing. So that's Damon, Jamal, and Anthony, the 3 founders. Congratulations. So we want to thank you all for coming tonight. There's a lot of celebration going on, much to be celebrated. We hope to see you all again next year, and we hope to see if some of you will launch your own businesses and join us up on stage. Thank you all.